Good evening, guys, and welcome to another wonderful episode of the We Know Nothing show. So, unfortunately for the most of you, we aren't going away. We're going to keep going from strength to strength, and it's just going to get better and better. So keep watching, guys. Keep giving us your positive vibes and all that good stuff. Tonight on the show, I am very happy to announce that we have got the one and only Daniel Jackson. I'd like to say he's in Barbados again this week, but he's had to come home due to an emergency meeting, so he's currently in Colne, from all the way from his lovely office. So, welcome again, DJ mate. Pleasure to have you on the We Know Nothing show as always, pal.
Yeah, thank you for having us, chaps. Do enjoy it.
No worries, always
enjoy
welcome.
having you.
Yep, 100%. As always, guys, I know this is the boring bit, but in recent weeks we've had some good feedback from people and some good positive vibes. It just makes us know that and lets us know that we're doing the right things and we're moving in the right direction. So yeah, so keep the positivity going for us, please. And yeah, as always, Younger, couldn't do it without your son. Welcome to the We Know Nothing show, pal. Excited for another episode to crack on. So yeah.
Okay.
Over to you, Younger. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So welcome, Mark and Deej. So tonight we're going to touch on transfers. We'll go into depth on Burnley's transfers, but we'll also touch on some of the other transfers that are happening, arguably around the Premier League, because it's been a bit of a slow transfer window at the minute. But I believe it's gonna start hotting up, and I'll name a few of the current transfers that we're expecting into the Premier League and see what you think of these transfers, and a couple of transfers that have not happened and might happen. It seems like everybody is linked with Barcelona, and everybody that's linked with somebody else keeps saying, I'll just sign for Barcelona, or I want to sign for Barcelona. So we'll have a little chat about that.
Even though they've no money.
Well, yeah, there's that. But also, I think we'll start off by touching on the Burnley legend that passed away today. That is Rocky. We all know him. Every Burnley fan knows him. If you're a Burnley fan and you don't know this guy, then you're not really been around the turf. He just, I don't know, I think at times away games and stuff like that, he draws that crowd, gets that crowd going sometimes, doesn't he? And everyone's had a little giggle at him. Yeah. Look at him go. But all his other little shouts as well. He's not fond of us. But yeah, what a great bloke. And he will be a big miss around the turf.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Couldn't agree more.
I agree with you. Yeah, good fond memories of him selling his golden gamble tickets, away days. Getting the crowd going, putting off opposition goalkeepers every time they took a goal kick. Growing up, especially in the lower league days, you'd always bump into him wherever you were in the ground, outside 100%. Of the ground, taunting opposition fans. He loved it, and it'll be a big miss for the club. And I hope they do something for him, maybe on the first game of the season.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I think that'd be a great gesture.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if his casket doesn't go past the turf on his way out. It's arguably been his second home to. I think if I remember rightly, it was only a year ago that he lost his wife. I think pretty much to the day. If I think I've read it right today, so and she was massive as well, wasn't she? She was always there with him a lot of the time. So he's carried on. He's carried on going to all the games even when she was gone. So like we said before, it's going to be a massive miss around the turf, and at away games, because I know he loved an away game, didn't he? Especially this season as well, with us going down and the local derbies that we've got. I'm pretty sure he would have absolutely loved them. But that's on you now, Deej. You've got to be that tannoy when you go away from home.
This is it now.
Happily do it. I'll give it a go. I'll give it a practice on some away games. No, I can't do it. I can't do it. There's only one Rocky.
There is only one Rocky, by the way. So yeah.
And by the way, By the way, everybody, this isn't a blooper show. This is like we're filming this as we're doing it now. So unfortunately, DJ, that is staying in.
Listen, I don't mind that, but let's have a practice and come back to me in a few weeks, see if I've improved.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Can't wait to start getting phone calls off your neighbours.
Exactly. Yeah, just do what Youngie did. Pretend to be a Mexican or something like.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's quite good. That's quite good.
You like the ginger bang out in an away game next season. So yeah, let's move on from that, and let's talk about signings and what's going on around Burnley. People going out, people coming in. And we'll touch on that, and then we'll move on to some of the Premier League ones. So, a couple of signings already through the door. Luke McNally, I think you say his name.
Yeah.
And Scott Twine, is he called Twine?
Yes.
I don't know much about him. All I've seen is a lot of opposition fans, the clubs that they've played for, saying we've got two really good players over the line there.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty happy. And one, it looks like he's got his finger on the pulse, really, and it looks like we're going to be bringing more in the door. And what do you think to these two that have already signed?
Quality. I think it's a breath of fresh air for us as a football club. I think having two young lads, like I think both from 22, 23. Respectively, I think that's the ages. Having two young lads who are coming into a club that's just been relegated is probably the perfect time for two players like that to come into the club.
Yeah.
I think from talent-wise, pretty much like you, Younger, not really seen a lot of, I don't think I've ever seen him play before, but reading articles and watching YouTube footage of them both and seeing what kind of messages the previous managers had for them and how good they actually are. I think it's an amazing sort of time for us as a football club at the minute, because we are sort of in a transitional phase, and I'm loving the direction we're going in with some of these players that we're linked with. And I think it one of the things that has really jumped out at me. I don't know if you both saw this also, but the Scott Twine deal. Apparently, according to Scott himself, he said company rang him 3.5 weeks ago and told him, I'm going to be the Burnley manager and I want you to come and join me at Burnley. Now that to me speaks massive volumes, because that's doing the work.
I have seen something on it about something like that where he got a phone call.
He rang him. He rang him.
I think Scott Twine's the striker, if I'm right in saying.
He's a number. It's like a 10. And that's something that we've been crying out for.
There's a couple of people that I've seen in a video that I watched online, and it is very much similar to the player to sort of Danny Ings, if I'm right in saying.
Yeah, he drops in that hole and don't mind the pop-up goals. Technically, he looks. I watched the video of him last night actually, and I was just like, I was very impressed with his touches and his movement, and he's quite robust as well for such a young lad and such a small frame.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like you said, Youngie, I don't know too much about him. It's a case of just watching YouTube videos and seeing what's what. But yeah, the Scott Twine thing, I agree with you, Mark. He looks technically quite gifted. He can create stuff out of nothing, which is possibly what we've lacked before. Good youthfulness, and I agree. It looks like a step in the right direction. I'm comparing this to how it were like past pre-seasons.
Yeah.
And we'd never get bodies through the door within the first week or two. We wouldn't even get them until the last minute when the leagues had started, at the end of August. So it's nice to see that, youngsters are coming into the building. And actually, looking at their press conferences and seeing the videos behind the scenes, how happy they are to be at the club.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's amazing, that, isn't it?
Manager welcome them with open arms.
Yeah, I love that.
Coming to the players. And how great does that feel? It looks good from the outside looking in. I think it's good, and I think it's a good buzz for the club. And getting young players in, I think that's a breath of fresh air.
Scott Twine scored 20 goals across 50 appearances last season in League One, so semi-decent return.
Good return.
I'd take that.
he got if 13 assists as well, didn't he? 13 assists he got.
Yeah, so if he gets 15 goals next season, you're probably really happy with that. But I think if you've brought him in, if you keep him Neil, if we can keep Cornet, which we'll bring up in a few minutes, coming in, it sounds like there's going to be quite a bit of competition for place up there. Obviously, we still do need some defenders, and we'll touch on a defender that potentially might be on his way out, but hopefully it looks like we'll bring a couple in. So 2 other players that look really, really linked and look like it's going to get over the line. At least one of them tomorrow, I would expect, from Manchester City is CJ Egan Riley. I expect him to sign a free, but with a compensation deal. I think that's around about 400 grand. I think we're going to pay for him. Yeah. And from what I've heard and from what I've seen of him, he looks like a decent player, to be fair. I think getting him in on foot for 400 grand compensation, I think that. And again, this is something that as a club we've done before, where we've lost a player, and instead of agreeing that fee, that compensation fee, we go to court and then we end up getting next to out anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Where, I don't know, we're doing some shrewd business very, very early. Another one looks like he's coming from Manchester City, but probably on loan, maybe with a view to buy. I've seen it a couple of places. Is Taylor Herwood. And I think he's got a double barrel name. I think I've missed his last name off there. Is he called Bellis or something as well?
Bellis or something, something like that,
Again, he looks like a decent player.
But again, didn't we say right at the beginning, when Vincent Kompany come in, he has good, strong links.
Yes.
With the City development squad and the youth players, and he's highlighted that some of them might not have even been known to some Burnley fans.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%.
These will be great coups for Burnley.
100%.
You've seen them grow up. You've seen them how they can play. Yeah, they're probably not going to get a chance in the City first team.
Yeah.
But what an opportunity for them. I think it's great news, mate.
But he might have trained alongside some of them as well.
He has done it. That's what he has done.
So usually when you're injured, you drop down to like your 18s and your youth team and stuff like that, and train with them just while you're getting your fitness back and stuff. So he'll have played alongside him, and he'll have been in changing rooms with him as a player. I think it's great.
Yeah, I think like you both say, I think we've been, friends for X amount of years now, haven't we? And I think we've sort of done this in a pub or in a cafe somewhere and had a natter about what we're doing. And I don't think we've ever been this positive about something like this. I always think we've always been slow starters, and always been that club who you sort of, it takes us a month to get a deal done, or we're going for the wrong kind of player and stuff. And I generally think that the players that we are linked with and are going for are the right caliber of player that we need at the club at the minute. And I think that's what's exciting for us.
And getting them in early, getting them in pre-season, getting to know the squad and the team and the surroundings before a season starts.
What is it, 5 weeks, is it? 5 weeks, is it?
I think it's vital getting them in early. You can't just not have any activity. Like, I'm going back to Sean Dyche days here. You can't have like bringing your same squad in for pre-season 4, 5, 6 weeks.
I was about to say exactly the same thing
for a couple of games.
Yeah.
Until transfer deadline day, going, where are our signings?
Yeah, I was about to say exactly the same thing.
But and then now we've changed it around, which is fab.
Yeah. And we brought one person in, 2 people in before the end of the transfer window. But then they weren't Dyche fit, and they hadn't done pre-season with the squad, like you're saying.
Exactly.
It seemed to lag on. A couple of players that signed, or at least one person, Jack Corky, signed a new contract. I'm quite happy to see that in the Championship. That I think if we'd have stayed in the Premier League, it might have been one of the players that I would have been happy to see go. But as a Championship player, he's going to be quality.
Yeah.
In the Premier League, I might have kept him for another season just to, because he's an older head around the team and stuff. And I think they're still in talks with Vidya at the minute. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think he's signed yet, has he?
Not as of yet, but they are in talks for a 2-year extension. So that'd be like a brand new signing as well for us in Championship. I think it'd be quality for us in Championship.
Yeah, and then I've got another one as well. Ashley Westwood, if you remember rightly, he broke his leg. And there was a video released yesterday or today of him talking about his recovery and how he's been in throughout the whole time. He hasn't been away on holiday or anything like that. And he's just been on recovery. And he said, one of the things he did say is he said, they've been pushing it to the limits to get him fit. He's not back ready for the start of the season or anything yet, but he's pushing himself. And because there was nobody else in, just him and Nick, but I don't know who Nick is. I couldn't work out who Nick was. Anyway, he has been pushing himself, but it wasn't until the players that came back in and they were like, oh, you're back doing this. Oh, you're back doing that. And he said it gave him another boost. And for me, I feel like he's going to be like a new signing for us, especially if we start the season without him and he gets back fit. Because if you remember rightly, in the Championship was arguably probably his best couple of seasons for us, and one in the Premier League where he had a good season. I think a Championship player is very, very good. I think he could give us another dimension in that middle of that game.
I don't think he gets back in that team, though, for me. I think I mean, and I'm not saying this derogatory towards him, but I think if you go back to like you were saying about Cork, so Cork has obviously signed 2-year contract. He's going to be a very good player for us in the Championship. I think Brownhill will be fantastic for us. I think
if he doesn't go,
I don't think he will do. But I think if you look at it from the point of view and the players that are going to come in, so obviously we've been linked with a couple of midfielders or whatever. I think the problem that Westwood will have is, I think there'll be too much quality in that midfield to put him back in, because
maybe. But for me, when you've got his passing range is really good, and I think you could tell in the Premier League that he was put under pressure a lot of times by better midfielders. Where when you drop to the Championship, his level is going to be very similar to the level of Championship midfielders that you're playing against. And some of his balls that he played, if we had a Danny Ings in our team, he would have eaten them up. Like Vydra didn't get enough time in team because he's a very pacey player. Some of the balls that he played, the nut passes and stuff, when they came off, them whip round balls, when they came off, they were amazing. When they didn't, they look awful. But it's the same with any player, How many balls did David Beckham take a free kick and hit the wall or put it over the top? And then when they went in, everybody remembers the time that he went in.
Yeah.
I get it. His legs are a bit older now, but hopefully this time off and this recovery will hopefully give him a little bit more.
Probably different philosophy as well, though, Youngie, as well. Like with the manager, you're looking at it from how. And I've been you in on this one as well, DJ. So from a philosophy point of view, from company's point, he won't want Westwood to just be getting that ball and playing it first time blind pass. He'll want his players to get on the ball and be brave and be confident and pass the ball about. So it could be, like you say, Youngie, it could be a new lease of life for him under a different manager who wants him to adapt to the style that company's going to adapt to the entire squad.
He has that passing game, short game.
Yeah, he does. I will say that about him. I will say that he does have that, but I think it's not a long way back for him, because that's not fair. But I think
there's competition. There will be competition.
Yeah, I agree. I think Westwood's got a lot to do to get back in that team, if I'm honest. So when you remember the injury, they brought Cork and Brownhill back in. And it gave us a new lease of life in that middle, and worked a treat probably until the last couple of games where they looked a bit tired and jaded. But rightly so, they played a lot of games in that short space of time together. But I think them two in the Championship will work wonders. With the Westwood situation, get where you're coming from, Youngie, but there was a lot of sideways and backwards passing that was too negative for the team.
I agree with that, yeah.
And when he got the ball, when he were getting it inside from a fullback, he used to hoof this ball down the channel.
Yeah.
Constantly. Even I read it before he played it. Right?
Yeah.
It will always be too long for the likes of Jay chasing it down the channel or going for a goal kick, etc. Yeah. He needs to cut that out of his game.
And that's why I said the likes of a Vydra or a Danny Ings who had that pace to go and chase that ball in.
Yeah, that's fair. But probably Vincent Kompany style will probably stop him from doing that.
Yeah,
and
he won't be doing
because it looks good when it pays off, but 9 times out of 10 it's a hit and hope, making sure the striker's there, and when they're not, it looks like a terrible ball.
I exactly. I fully agree. I just think that he could come back and it could almost be like a new signing, even if he's just putting pressure on the 2 midfielders that are in there, or the 3 midfielders that are in there. Then
his experience is key. He's a likable character within the dressing room, so it's vital that he does stay and he gets as fit as he can, ready for the new season. But yeah, I agree with Mark. I think he'll struggle to get the first 11 at the minute.
Well, only time will tell, I suppose.
100%.
So players that rumours to be leaving the club. Obviously, we've got Waghorst. He's on his way. See you later. We don't want you anyway. After you spat your dummy out with 4 games to go at end of season, and arguably came in, looked like a breath of fresh air. Didn't score very many goals, but put himself about. But so did Ashley Barnes. You know, I think you've got to think about is he didn't score very many goals, and arguably he missed the opportunity of the season in the final game. And we've said it before, that if he scores that, the atmosphere changes in the Leeds game. Because
I think if he scores that, I think we stay up.
You hear the noise, you hear that groan from the crowd, and that has an effect. And I think that had an effect in the negative way for Burnley, because we all went, oh. And everybody that's a Burnley fan that wasn't in the ground did exactly the same thing, because he just missed an absolute sitter.
Well, he spat his dummy out, though. He spat his dummy out against Watford. When Matt Jackson took him off, he walked him on that pitch like he were like Cristiano Ronaldo, like he were the most important thing since, whatever. And if...
I agree, his character proper came out there, out of nowhere.
Yeah, big time,
At the beginning, it looked like you were enjoying the club and wanted to work hard and, do the best he could for Burnley Football Club. Yeah. And then when that substitute happened, wow, I saw a total change in him, and he wasn't getting
his body language, everything.
At the end of the season, spits his dummy out and goes, I don't want to play for Burnley in the Championship. What are you talking about? I'm too good for that level. Well, off you go then. Get on a flight to Turkey, and hopefully
But did you not see what he said, though? He's actually been quoted as saying, I didn't sign for Matt Jackson, I signed for Sean Dyche.
Yeah.
I mean, he come out and said, I didn't sign for Matt. The fact of the matter is...
Well, he's going to say that because it was Matt Jackson that subbed him after a certain time.
But we won the game, though. Obviously, granted, your passion takes over. No one wants to come off that early in the game, and I get that. But what's the bigger picture? The fact that he came off, or the fact that we won that game 2-1? Well, that's what you got to look at.
I don't mind people leaving a pitch and throwing the dummy out, because sometimes it shows passion. Yeah. It was the sulkiness about it. Like,
absolutely. Baby house.
You've thrown your dummy out.
He didn't even celebrate with the team after the game.
No,
you saw the sub. You saw the sub celebrating Brownhill's winner and getting behind the fans and all that.
And he was just
in a corner, just like.
And when Matt Jackson went to shake his hand, he nudged him away, like as if to say, no. And that to me speaks volumes. He's one of them players that has got this reputation where he thinks he's a lot better than he is. Simple as that. And for me...
Well, he's shown his true colours now, hasn't he? Because he's like... I understand he wants to try and get in the team for the World Cup. However, I think you've just got to... He's just got to chill out, man. Like, leave, but don't try and tarnish the club on the way out. Like, club's done nothing wrong to you. You signed for us. You knew what you were getting yourself in for. You weren't up for it. See you later. Jog on.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm glad to see him go. Rotten apple.
Yeah, I agree. And it could have had a detriment effect on the changing room.
Yeah.
What though? For example, if he went on loan for the season, right, then we got promoted to the Premier League, would he be tempted to play for Burnley in the Premier League?
But he's already come out and said that, though. Do you know what he said in his interview? He's already said, I've got unfinished business with Burnley in the Premier League. If Burnley get promoted against the Premier League, I fully expect to be playing up front again for him. I'm like, what planet do you live on? If we get promoted this season and you're on loan,
Championship.
Yeah, exactly. Right, he's actually come out and said
there'll be no Burnley fans that want him back.
100%. He won't. If we get promoted this season, he's still on loan. He don't come back. He'll come back, but we'll sell him. We'll get rid of him. There's no way that we'll take him back.
I think we have to, unless he goes and scores 50 goals at Besiktas.
I don't think he'll even score that, to be honest with you. I mean, he might.
I don't think he'll score anywhere near 10. But
no, Turkish football's not a great standard. I don't think. There's only a few teams, but still, you know, the quicker we get him out of the club, the better.
Yeah. Maxwell Cornet, I think he's due back Monday morning for training. Yeah. Some people, there's a few signs that people are saying that they're expecting him back, and there are links there, but nothing is concrete. You know, I've seen a link to Newcastle again. Like, Newcastle might as well play in claret and blue instead of green and white next season.
Yeah, exactly.
By the looks of what the strip looks like, but
yeah,
I don't know. I think we might see him, especially seeing as how that we're bringing players in. I think he might think about staying.
I mean, that'd be amazing to have a player of that caliber in the Championship. You know, he did wonders when he came in. The goals that he scored, he was our top goal scorer.
Yeah,
I'm still of the opinion he'll go. Like I said with Nick Pope, I can't see him being in the Championship with Burnley. But you know, I don't know a lot. I'll be shocked if I go on the home game against Luton and he's there in a claret shirt. I'd be very shocked. But he's going to be scoring worldies against the likes of Luton and Millwall, isn't he?
Yeah, well, I'm in that same boat, mate. I'll be shocked if he's there first game of the season.
Yeah,
but he hasn't been back to the club yet. So has Big Vinny rang him and spoken to him? You know,
possibly,
especially if he's coming back. Like, you know, Waghorst hasn't even turned up. He's just decided to stay away. Maxwell's coming back. Like, even if there's links, it looks as though he's on his way back in. So if he is on his way back in, then fair play to him. At least he's going to put some groundwork in before he goes.
I think the only potential club I could see him at, and this is controversial, but you know, the only club I could probably see, not controversial, but the only club I could probably see him at the moment in time is probably Everton, because Everton losing Richarlison for 60 million, and obviously Cornet's got the 17.5 million release clause. Everton will need to replace Richarlison, but they can't spend big because they're under scrutiny for this financial fair play stuff. So I could maybe see him going to Everton. I saw a link with him with Newcastle. Absolutely pointless going to Newcastle because he won't get ahead of Saint-Maximin. I saw a link with Southampton. I'm not sure about Southampton. Not too sure what he would sort of achieve there in that sense. That's no disrespect to Southampton, because I like Southampton as a club. But I just think that there's not many. I don't think there's many teams that he'll go to where he'll start, in the sense of if he stayed with us. I think
you see him going to somewhere like Leeds as well, because they look like they're about to lose Rafinha.
I'm not too sure about Leeds, to be honest. I can't see, you know, like when you see a player at a club, I can't see Cornet at Leeds.
I didn't see Cornet at Burnley, to be fair, mate.
No, I could. No. I mean, no, I can now, but I do think it was very true, very, very, like, you know, point what you said about Kompany. I possibly think maybe what Vincent said to him is like, look, if you stay with us, we'll build the team around you, because you'll be one of the gems, and he will be. He will be a gem in that division. He'll be quality for us in that. You know, he will quality for us.
No, I agree. I agree with what Deej said. Like, I think if we have him in the Championship, then I think he's tearing teams apart.
100%.
So other players that are linked with potentially leaving, Matt Lawton. I think West Brom has been the latest link for him. I can see him potentially going out the door. I know he's about 33-year-old now, and he wants some first team.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Josh Brown move for him late in his career, I'd say. I think that's not a bad move.
I agree. Like,
yeah, I think it's a good move for him.
I think who's the manager at West Brom? It's
Bruce, isn't it?
Bruce, in it. He's tried to sign him a couple of times before, if I remember right. He tried to sign him when he was at Hull.
I think he had him at Villa, didn't he? You were with him at Villa, weren't
he? Yeah, he probably did.
I think for like one season before he signed for us, I think.
Obviously, Josh Brownhill's been linked with a couple of clubs. We've already said that we can't see him realistically leaving. But we'll see. He's been in training and he's been all smiles. There was a funny picture that went on Twitter the other day. It said all smiles back in training, and everybody else was smiling, and Dwight McNeil was just like.
I think he only smiles when he I think he only smiles when he passes wind.
Obviously, then that leads on to Dwight McNeil. He's been linked with a number of clubs here, there, and everywhere. I think we'll see a different Dwight McNeil again this season. I think under Vincent Kompany, hopefully he'll get that freedom that I think the three of us have spoken about previously, and that Dwight McNeil sort of needs to be not sat trying to chase defenders back up here, there, and everywhere, and forgetting about his game going forward. Yes, he had the worst season last year, but again, when Mike Jackson took over, he completely changed. Yes, he still didn't score a goal and he didn't get an assist, but you could tell that he changed. His whole persona and himself had completely changed. So I think what you've got to think about is what can Vincent Kompany get out of him, and is it still a little bit early for him to be playing Premier League football? Has he got that strength about him? Yeah, that a good year in the Championship might change that, I think.
Yeah, it'll be his first time in the Championship, won't it, if you think about it? I mean, he came in as a young 18, 19-year-old when we were in Premier League and in Europe, etc. Yeah, he's never looked back. So this will be his first time in the Championship, and he'll be a similar, if Cornet plays alongside him, I think he'll tear the Championship up. I think he'll have a new confidence with the new manager, give him the freedom to play. He won't be worried too much about tracking back. I can't see a lot of marauding fullbacks in the Championship. I might be wrong. I'll learn about that as the games go on. But yeah, I definitely can see more assists and goals to his name. And that's possibly a reason why he hasn't left or been sold, because he had a poor season last time out. So clubs won't be interested. So in a way, that's benefited us. Have a shit season and we'll keep him. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks very much.
I've seen he's another player that I think has been linked with Everton, and also who else did I see him linked with? I think it might have been Leeds again. It might have been a link. A small link with Leeds. Yeah, so another noticeable person out the door is Nathan Collins, potentially leaving. I'd like to see him, and again, it leads back to this new manager. Is he going to go? You get to play under one of the best Premier League centre halves we've ever seen. Like, look, he's got a statue of himself outside the Etihad because he was that good. And he was that good, wasn't he? So, look, you're going to get to play under him, and he's going to coach you defensively. Go on then. I know where I'm staying.
Yep.
I get Tarkowski was going to leave out of contract. Fair play to him. But yeah, look, for me, he's got to stay, hasn't he?
100%. Couldn't agree more with you there, Younger. And I think that a great point of, if you're a Nathan Collins and I think Nathan Collins has got a very, very good future ahead of him. I think he's going to be a very, very good footballer. I think you're looking at it from a Nathan Collins point of view, and you're stepping out on that grass for the first time in pre-season. You see big Vinny Kompany at other end at pitch, probably arguably, like you say, one of the best centre halves the Premier League's ever seen. And you're going to learn how to defend from one of the best. So if you're looking at it as a young player, and we all did that when we were growing up, didn't we? We all looked up to someone and we aspired to be that sort of caliber of player, whichever position we were playing in. Obviously, we weren't lucky enough to be in a professional club and playing with as heroes and playing with as sort of players that we see week in, week out on TV. But Collins has got the ability now to learn from Vincent Kompany and what Vincent Kompany will teach him. And I think that's for the Luke McNally who's coming as well. I think that's a big thing for Luke McNally, learning from a centre half. The two lads that are coming potentially from City, defenders. Vinny Kompany love to defend, so you're learning from the best. So I can't see any deficiencies in Colin staying. Now, on the flip side of that, what I will say is, if we get 45 million for him, then thanks very much. You've been a great player for the club. We'll see in a bit, because I do truly believe that. I think a team will test the waters with us. I think they will put a bid in for him. And I do think that if it's acceptable, I do think they'll let him go. But it can't be anything under at least 35 million. It has to be at least 35 million plus for me, because you're not just buying a centre half, you're buying potential and age.
I think with a sell-on clause there as well. I think if you're going to buy him for 35 million, you've got to have some sort of decent
put like
sell-on
a 20%
clause.
Clause. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. But I do think he'll stay.
Isn't that brilliant business for the club if we get something like that for a guy that's coming into the Premier League just for one season and in an outlet team because of how well Tarky and Ben Mee did? I think that's staggering business. But credit to him for getting the suitors from the Premier League that are interested in him. As a club, I won't stand in the way of a bid being offered for him for that value. Wow, that would be some coup. I'd like him to stay, of course, because he has potential, but don't stand in way of bids for that sort of money. Accept it.
I agree.
At the end of the day, Vincent Kompany's bringing in the youth. He's got good centre halves coming into the building, and he's, I can see him staying, but do not turn down bids of excess of 35 million. No way.
No, I don't think they will, though. I don't think.
I agree. I think if you get 30 back into the club, though, he's got to be given at least some of that money to be able to look. He's being given money. You can clearly see that we've signed 2 players already, not for mega bucks, but
still money though.
It's still money. It's still championship level money, and we're bringing players in from League One who have been proven League One players and doing decent jobs in that league. So, I agree. 35 million plus. I think a good sell-on clause, because I don't think his next move is his last move. I don't personally think that. I think if he goes somewhere next, he'll then move more time from that, and he'll go for even more money. He's still a young lad, remember. One other player that has left the club. Obviously, we've had a few on frees and stuff, but I think our noticeable loss is Nick Pope. It wasn't a shock that someone came in. It was a shock, the amount of money that we got for him. Only a year left on his contract, if I'm right. So did we cash that? Hopefully we managed to get some sort of bonus to it and potential sell-on clause, because again, it could move one more time from Newcastle yet. Albeit it's probably on mega bucks now. But what a player. He arguably saved us on his own last season, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He kept us in that division for the amount of time especially last season. I think when the game that probably stands out is probably West Ham away. For me, I mean, some of the saves he pulled out, absolutely phenomenal. And I think
Villa away as well.
Yeah, the Villa away, the Churi header. We had the disagreement a couple of weeks ago, and it was one of them where I agree with you, Younger, in the sense of, the money what he went for. I think the deal itself, the deal is worth up to 16 million, and I think we've had his fingers burnt with Tarkowski because he left on a free. We had a sell-on clause to Brentford for I think it was 12% to Brentford. So even if we would have sold Tarky for 10 million, we'd have only got what we paid for him, which is with 8 million. So I think what they've done is they've realised that they've got 2 half decent keepers still at the club. But yeah, I think getting 16 million for a 30-year-old who's in his last year of his deal, it's not bad business really, because he could have gone next season for nothing. So I think it's And if that 16 million,
I agree. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more money straight up front, but it looks like we're using it wisely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because if you look at it from the point of view, if it were 16 million or up to 16 million, we've spent 6 million already on Twine and McNally, so that's already come to fruition in that sense. So,
go on, Deej, what are you saying?
Yeah, I think we should have got a lot more, and I'll tell you why.
Here we go.
I'm talking bear with me for a minute, but from a business sense, I'm talking. You know, the news and the press about this secured debt or unsecured debt that the club needs to pay back a lot sooner if we don't get promoted, but we're spending money. If I was in that position and I was selling my biggest assets, I'd hold out for as much as I possibly could, and it's to pay that unsecured loan off quicker. If that's true, it seems he's gone with a little bit of a whimper for me for 10 million. Just like, you know what? You don't stand in the way of him because he's an England international. He wants to progress his career, and I get that. I didn't think he'd stay anyway, but I honestly thought we'd sell our biggest assets for a lot more. And because there was something on TalkSport on the day of him selling it, I can't remember. It was one of these transfer reporters. I can't remember his name, but he said traditionally goalkeepers do not go for a lot of money, whatever standard they are in the Premier League. I thought he's talking bollocks, and I googled it, and Aaron Ramsdale was bought in excess of 18 million quid from 2 relegated clubs, and he wasn't even in the England setup at the time. No. So he got relegated from Sheffield United and Bournemouth, didn't he?
Yeah.
Before he'd even had an England cap or anything, but he was sold well in excess of Nick Pope's sale.
Yeah,
well in excess. And even Jordan Pickford, who's arguably England's number one, was sold from Sunderland to Everton for 25 million quid. These are British goalkeepers. So I looked at
were they in the last year of the contract though? Were they in the last year of the contract?
To me, that doesn't matter because stats don't lie. He nearly won the Golden Glove a year or two ago, alongside Edison in the Premier League.
He did, and he still had.
Whether he's got a year left or 7 years left, you've got to hold out for as much as you can, especially
on that
with the news going out that we've got a big debt to pay. If we have, we might not.
But we don't even know, do we? That's the thing.
Well, that's it. But seeing these sales and the transfers that come in, it doesn't seem like it's needed to be paid back at sooner than what the press are reporting. So if that's the case, fair enough. But from a business sense, I'd have held out for a lot more. I'd have sold him because he wants England ambitions.
Yeah. But that's what I'm going to say. Youngie, you can answer this as well with me. Just a quick one, Youngie, just really quickly before you say your thing on this, right?
I'll forget what I'm going to say now.
That may be the case, DJ, and I 110% agree with you that I think you should be looking to sell your best assets for the most amount you can get for it. Yeah. The problem is then, do you run the risk of then, say like you say to Pope, right, you're in your last year of your contract, Nick. We're not going to sell you for less than 25 million. Right? Now, as much as Pope's been loyal to us and been fantastic, he's been a fantastic servant to us. If Nick Pope knows that no club is going to come in and pay 25 million for him, does that then make him unhappy and cause disharmony within the squad because you put in a price range on his head?
No, because Mark, there are
would someone pay that law?
It's nothing to do with whether he's unhappy or not, and if he had a clause. There would have been clubs out there that would have paid that money. If they
do you think Newcastle would have paid 25 million for him?
Much. If they wanted an England international goalkeeper that much with the stats that he had for Burnley, who'd just been relegated after 6 seasons, the clubs would have.
DJ, I fully agree with you here. I think let's just touch on the debt thing because it all lays in for me, really. I think if we had this, then would have done what you were saying, Mark, and tried, take the money and that's it. I think, for me, we're clearly not in that position because and something's happened behind the scenes that we don't quite rightly know about yet because we're bringing. Put your hands up if you thought we were going to sign anybody like this close to this soon in the transfer window, and spend millions of pounds, because I didn't. Like,
no,
honestly, like I didn't expect it. And then I get what we did with Talks, and the unfortunate thing is nobody actually came in with a decent offer for Talks.
No,
like last season, where this season someone's come in. Now, could we have held out for more? Yeah, I think we probably should have tried doing that and tried batting another team off against us.
Yeah,
but I also agree that we've got to give the kid a chance to go. The kid is 30-year-old. The guy a chance to go and be an England international again, because arguably he won't get in game time because he was playing at Burnley, which is a load of rubbish. Because his stats don't lie. Like, you might have the worst defence in front of you, but if you're making the amount of saves that guy did, then he's arguably up there with the best Premier League keepers there is. You can look at Edison and Alisson as being the best keepers, but the defenders that are in front of him are worth like £500 million. You've got defenders in front of Burnley that are worth 50p, like in front of Nick Pope that were worth 50p. Like, you've got to outweigh your options. That look, Newcastle are getting a banging keeper, aren't they? I mean, it's as simple as that.
I think they've got an absolute steal. Yeah, that's the less they're going to spend over this summer. I think they've got a good bit of business there.
If that money's now buying these players, and there has been a keeper from Manchester City, one of the younger keepers, been linked as well. So if that money is then being put back in, and we're signing players with it, and young players as well at that are going to give us a chance to be back in the Premier League, then great. Look, just a few hours ago we've been linked, or it looks like been a deal agreed for Standard Liège striker Jackson. I'm not going to try and pronounce his last name properly, but
go on, Younger. Give it a
go. Maluka, I believe.
Maluka. Maloko. Sing it back. Maloko.
From some of the stuff I've been reading over the last few days about this guy, he can score goals. So I'm pretty at £3.5 million. It looks like money up front before any add-ons or anything like that. So I'm pretty happy with that. And it also looks like there's another player from Besiktas coming in. Another player that's been linked with Besiktas, but from Standard Liège again. I don't know his name off the top of my head. Ben is his first name. But he looks like a decent player. So let's hope that this transfer window continues the way it's going. And in Sean Dyche, it used to be that we trusted, isn't it? So in Big Vinny, we trust now, and let's see how the window goes. But I agree, Deej. I can't see where this. If we owe debt, why are we spending money?
I don't think we do. Think we do. They've already said, haven't they? Like, I don't know if it was a spoof but somebody put on Twitter about it, saying that JP Magnanus, who we got the loan from, like the big business firm or whatever it were, where we got the unsecured loan from. There were rumours that what it was 65 million if we got relegated, and that was a payment up front. But that 65 million wasn't quoted to say it was paid quarterly. So they're paying 15 million every quarter. So, if that is the case, if they are paying 15 million, or they have agreed something where they can pay it back, every 6 months or whatever, then we're in a better position than we probably think we are. I'm under no illusions that Big Vinny K wouldn't have come to Burnley for his first club as in English Championship or whatever, with no money to spend. He's taught very well and said, I know what my means are and stuff. But if you think about it from what you've just said, then Younger, with the two lads that we've been linked with, and the Elgin Marley, Scott Twine and Luke McNally, that takes you over the threshold of 11 million, and you've got 5 good players. So
when was the last time Burnley signed 5 players in a transfer window?
But that's what I'm saying, though, and this is why it's important the way they're going. I would like a marquee signing. I would like someone like, someone we have been linked with a few big names and stuff, but I'm happy with what we're doing at the minute. 11 million, close to just 11.5 million for 5 good players. Seems like a bargain. 100%.
Anyway, what I want to do now,
championship level.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
What I want to do now is just quickly, before we finish tonight, is touch on just some of the players. There's a bit of a Brazilian merry-go-round in the Premier League at the minute of players moving. Richarlison has just signed for Tottenham, I think £50 million up front, and then rising to 60 with add-ons. Great business, if you ask me, from Everton, by the way. He's a good player, but £60 million worth of player, I'm not entirely sure just yet. Rafinha to Chelsea. He's one of the players that has then gone, oh yeah, I like Chelsea, but actually what I want to do is I want to sign for Barcelona. So yeah. I don't know, you're getting that same, I'm getting that same vibe about him as that Lukaku deal. Went away, I don't really want to play Premier League football anymore. Came back to Chelsea, and my note here for Lukaku just signed for Inter on loan for £6.5 million. Like, that's it. Look, it's a steal for Lukaku, but he can't play Premier League football, can he?
Chelsea signed him last season for £80 million.
He hasn't got it. Oh, where's Deej gone? Did he not like us? Oh, he's back.
No, he obviously didn't like. He don't like Lukaku, obviously.
He doesn't like Lukaku. He's gone. He can't even hear us. Look, he don't know what's happening. Deej, Maria, can you hear us? Oh, what? Well, you've spoiled.
Someone call IT.
You spoiled this segment, haven't you?
Yeah, no, I think £80 million for last season. Falling in love with the Lukaku love story with the Premier League. I think when he was here before, I think when he played for Chelsea, West Brom, Everton, and Man United, I think he scored 20 plus seasons in 5 seasons between the clubs. I think he were an half decent scorer. I just think it didn't work out with him at Chelsea because I don't think he fit Chelsea's style. But 6.5 million as a loan fee from someone that signed for 85 million. So you're talking there what is it, like a 72.5 million?
It's going to rise by 3.5 million. So you're looking at like loss right there, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
on money wise. And my comment was, I just don't think he can. I don't think he can hack Premier League football anymore. I think he's gone away and played potentially a slower game, Italy, and scored a few goals against dog and duck defenders, and then come back to the Premier League where you're playing decent defenders all over the place, and I don't think he can do it. A big one for me, Sterling to Chelsea. I'm a big fan of Raheem Sterling, to be honest. I like him. I've got a lot of time for Raheem Sterling. He's still a young lad as well. He's still got a lot of time left in him. Great international footballer as well. What are your thoughts on that, Deej?
Well, if my shitty value broadband don't kick me off, I'll make a comment. Sorry, I missed the last 5 minutes. I don't know what happened, but yeah, Raheem Sterling, yeah, good player. I think it'd be a good fit for Chelsea. Mark laughing. I've lost where I am now.
Mark needs to turn his lights on. We can barely see him. He keeps disappearing because he's got that blurred background as well. Every time he leans back, you just blurs him. Look, he keeps doing that and keeps disappearing.
Proper ghost. Anyway, yeah, Raheem Sterling, yeah, good signing for Chelsea. I think he'll fit in well. Him and Rafinha, if Rafinha goes as well, that'll be something different for the Chelsea forward line. Yeah, I think he would probably be frustrated with his time at City in the last 12 months in and out of the squad. Yeah. But a lot of players were at City, weren't they? But they were generally happy. But I think, again, for his England credentials going into a World Cup and competing in the top 4. It's not a bad move, is it?
No, I fully agree. I agree.
Good player, very good player for me. Been a not been his biggest fan all the time, but I think his stats and stuff, it speaks for itself. He's been half decent at City, and to be fair to him, so I think moving to Chelsea at this time is probably the right time with obviously who City have signed. I think he's probably going at the right time. I think, but I think he'll work at Chelsea. I think he suits Chelsea's style to a T. What Tuchel likes to play. So yeah, watch this space with Raheem, because I think he could be up there in goals this season for Chelsea.
No, I agree. De Jong to Man United. It looked like a done deal a few days ago, and then sort of I saw a post the other day saying something about him wanting to stay at Barcelona. I just don't understand how you get so far into a deal and then you don't understand that the player wants to stay at the club that he's actually at. I don't really get it, mate. Hopefully, I'm glad to see him in the Premier League.
Quality player. Bit like a Modric.
So
very tidy on ball.
How shocked are you that Man United have not brought anyone in yet in the transfer window?
I'm not shocked at all.
One of the biggest clubs in the world, and yeah, they've had the problems last year. But how have they not been? Like, they've hardly been linked with anyone apart from De Jong and Christian Eriksen. But a club like Man United that talk about competing every year, and they're nowhere near close to signing everybody.
It's
madness, isn't it?
Amazing,
it's really weird.
An amazing fall from grace. Amazing fall from that pedestal that they put themselves on.
I agree. The bottom of the league in terms of transfer activity is 0 with the likes of Leicester, and then you see Liverpool, City, Chelsea that we spoke about.
Bringing players in. Arsenal are even
Arsenal. Yeah, that was the club I was thinking of. I mean, brain just went dead. But yeah, Arsenal. I can't believe it. I think they'll probably finish lower in league than they did last year if they carry on.
Yeah, I think me and Mark have had this conversation just recently, actually. I think if they pull off enough signings, they've got a good enough squad already there. They just need extra players to help out. I think Harry Maguire needs this off-season, and he needed a rest and needed a pre-season. And again, I don't think it's arguably been long enough for him to recuperate his batteries. Because I think that's what cost him a lot last year. Because if you remember rightly, he had a good season, came out of that good season, went into a World Cup, had a good World Cup, and then dropped off. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And I think it was just burnout. And I said it with Sean Dyche and Dwight McNeil. I think you've got to pull the kid out. And I think it should have happened with Harry Maguire. They should have pulled him out partway through the season and just go away for 4 weeks, rest, and then come back.
I'll go away for a full season.
No, I think you would have seen a completely different player if he'd have gone away, done rest, gone back into training, done a couple of weeks of build-up training, got himself back right, got himself in a reasonable mental state. Because don't get me wrong, these players are under some immense pressures week in, week out, aren't they? That's the thing.
Yeah.
And Harry Maguire was taking a brunt of the stick. Another player that is going out of Manchester City by the looks of it is Jesus, and he looks like he's on his way to Arsenal. What do you think of that signing? I think he's a
great signing,
a good player to be fair. So
great signing. Give him games, he'll score your goals. Will Jesus?
I think he'll be in double figures. If they play him in the central role, I would put a quid on him being close to Golden Boot.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think he's a very underrated striker. I think he's been sort of unlucky at City because they've had obviously Aguero, and then they've been playing with the false nine.
Not a striker, it's mental, isn't it? Just one Premier League without playing with a striker.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, and it's like, but I think with the players that Arsenal have got and potentially are going to get, I think he will be the forefront of their scoring ability. And I think it's a great move. I think it's a very shrewd move from Arteta. That very shrewd move.
Yeah, I agree. Player that Manchester City look like they might be getting in is Kalvin Phillips from Leeds. I'm not entirely sure where he fits in Manchester City's side, to be perfectly. I know Fernandinho is Fernandinho. That's just gone, isn't it? So maybe he just slots straight in and takes over that role. Bless you.
Thank you, pal.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be an okay bit of business. I'm one of them players that's still not sold on him. Why would you buy him when you buy Declan Rice?
Well, I agree. I think out of the two, I was going to bring that up because of the two comparisons there. Both played for England in that role and play the Fernandinho role for the relevant clubs. Declan Rice is the better player, but Kalvin Phillips will improve in that Man City squad over time. Whether he's the ready replacement to playing week in, week out, time will tell. You've got your Rodri will play there more, I think.
That's the other player I was trying to think of.
Then Kalvin Phillips. Gundogan plays in there sometimes unless he's more advanced. Time will tell. It's like the Grealish thing a little bit. How will he do it at City in his first season? I think the money, Leeds have got a good deal out of it again for the money they've received. They've lost a big player. City they've gained a good player, but not an absolute worldie. But again, time will tell. If he fits into that mould that Guardiola's trying to build or has built, then it might turn out to be a good one.
So player linked. Go on.
Just on that point you give about Kalvin Phillips, I know we've only got a bit of time left, but just on that point about Kalvin Phillips, the thing I want to say about Kalvin Phillips really quickly is my hatred for Leeds runs deep, obviously, because I'm a Burnley fan and we do all hate Leeds, don't we? But I really like Kalvin Phillips, and the reason why I like Kalvin Phillips is because he's a and I'm going to blow some smoke up your arse here, young guy.
Thanks.
He sort of remind like how you used to play. Reminds me a bit like him. He's very good. He's good in the air. He's good on the ball. He loves to put himself about, and he's not afraid to give the bollockings out when it's needed. And I think possibly that's why Guardiola is going to get him, because in that midfield you've got Gundogan. You don't really see rollicking. That's his brother, DJ. That's his brother. You got Rodri. You got Rodri, and you've got De Bruyne. Then adding Kalvin Phillips into that midfield, you're adding a bit more steel as well, a bit like a Fernandinho who will hack people down and be that nasty player that they need. Because De Bruyne is not a nasty.
Maybe you're right. Maybe that's.
But I think it's a shrewd signing, but I don't think he plays every week because I don't think he's better than Rodri.
No, I think I agree, and I don't know where you put Rodri in if Kalvin Phillips is playing and maybe it's centre off, but we'll see. Like you say, only time will tell with that. Another player that has been linked with leaving the Premier League for a little while now to Barcelona, to be honest, is Mo Salah. It's gone a bit quiet on that front, but I think a lot of people were expecting it to happen this summer. I think is he out of contract next season as well?
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit shocked that it's not happened, unless he's like gone, right, well, I'm just not going to sign a new contract and I'll go on a free at end of season. See you later. But I'm a bit shocked by that someone's not coming for him and he's not signed a new contract at the minute.
Liverpool wouldn't allow it to be where they lose Mane and Salah. No chance. I know.
So they're going to lose him next season then for free? Or do you think he'll sign a new contract?
Possibly. He might sign another contract, but I think Liverpool are very, it's a tactile situation. How they've approached it, and they've let Mane go. They won't let Salah go as well. You're either one or the other, and it's always going to be Mane.
So, two players left I want to talk about. One is Robert Lewandowski. He looks like he might be heading to Spain. I wouldn't have minded seeing him in the Premier League. I thought he might have destination Chelsea, to be perfectly honest. I thought they might have gone for him, losing Lukaku. But who's he going to end up at? He's linked with both Real Madrid and Barcelona at the minute. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen him in the Premier League because he don't look like a bad player. He is playing in Germany, mind, but don't look like a bad player, is he? Especially for his age as well.
Yeah, he could have left that too late, couldn't he? Like you think he likes of Zlatan Ibrahimovic, possibly. He should have played in the Premier League a lot when he was a lot younger.
Yeah, a lot sooner.
Same could be said about Lewandowski if he leaves it too late and then comes to the Premier League and doesn't set the world alight. It could be age against him that why that happens. But yeah, I'd like to see him in the Premier League. But yeah, it looks like Spain is his destination. Good luck.
And then another player that is playing in Germany is Jude Bellingham. I love this kid, mate. I think this kid is sort of the next, your really next big player. You know, your Messi, Ronaldo level player for me, alongside your likes of. I was going to say Jack Grealish, but that's not who I wanted to say. Phil Foden is the person that was on the end of my tongue.
Absolutely.
But yeah, £103 million price tag. Now, if I'm a Premier League club, I'm going paying that tomorrow.
100%.
I think 19 years old and he's already that good.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money, that, isn't it? 103 million for a 19-year-old. Wow.
Yeah.
It's stupid amounts, isn't it?
But, it's quite. But he's phenomenal.
Could be worth every penny if he goes to the right club. I.e., City. He'd fit in well at Liverpool, I think. Do you?
I think he'd be quality at Liverpool.
Quality. I think they need to maybe improve.
I think I'd like to see him at Man United, to be fair, because he'd do wonders there as well.
The thing is,
they need a midfielder, don't they? That's the thing.
I can't see United. I can't see United pulling these big signings out. I can't see it. I think that, sorry to digress a bit, but signing Christian Eriksen for me is a backward step. You're going backwards don't get me wrong, I think he's a phenomenal footballer. I think he's fantastic. But is he gonna set Man United alight like they need to? I don't think he will.
No,
and that's the thing. But Jude Bellingham, make no mistake about it, I'm 110% agree with you, Younger. The next big thing is Jude Bellingham. He's going to be phenomenal. He's going to light that World Cup if Borgate plays him. I think he's going to be unbelievable for me. Great player, 19-year-old, ripping it up, making it look like it's an easy game.
We'll touch on I'm sure we'll touch on the Gareth Southgate thing a little bit further down the line, but yeah.
Boring bastard.
I don't want him.
Like he's done no wrong for England, has he? He just got us to final of a fucking Euros, mate. Like he's a legend in England. When was the last time a manager got us anywhere near it? But we've said this before. We've said this before.
When was the last manager to take us to a 4-0 defeat against Hungary at home? Can't name it. I can't.
I agree.
It's boring. He's too cautious, Younger. That midfield does not need two holding midfielders. You don't need two holding midfielders.
Look, I don't disagree. All
it's a debate for another day, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. With only a couple of minutes left.
This guy never launched my laptop through a window there.
No, I do agree, but I don't know if there's anyone better out there at the minute.
Sean Dyche, give it him.
Shut up.
Oh,
idiot.
No, please.
Anyway, that brings me to my end of my sheet of paper. I told you it was a decent sheet of paper tonight, didn't I?
Great show tonight, lads.
So that's transfers so far, and hopefully we'll see a few more coming in at Burnley and watch this space for Ashley Westwood next season. What are you shaking your head at, you two?
Play Cam on the bench.
What have you got? What's in that can now?
Vodka, mate. Do we? Does this change any of your predictions for next season on who's going up and who's? Do Burnley?
No, I'm still sticking with mine. Like I said last show, So your Norwich, Middlesbrough, Sheffield United.
So yeah, sticking with them. Okay.
Burnley
These signings don't excite DJ enough to get him.
No. The signings excite me, but because of the uncertainty with the new manager and how it's going to be in the Championship, it's a tough start to the division. So time will tell. But those are my three. I'd like us to be promoted.
It only strengthens my claim, the fact that they are going to go back up, in my opinion.
Right. Well, lads, thanks very much. Deej, Mark, thanks for joining us on the We Know Nothing show.
Yeah. Welcome, pleasure.
Yeah.
And, I'll probably see you again in a couple of weeks.
Yep, great show. Enjoy.
A couple of weeks, and we'll be 3 weeks. What will be about 3 weeks out from the start of the season. So it'll be a great time to catch back up again.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we'll do some research and get back involved. Yeah. Nice one.
Well, lads, good evening. See you later.
Peace out. Take care, team. See you later.